Welcome to Coyote Tales, a podcast featuring life stories from Weatherford College alumni and friends. And now, from the Nan and Bob Kingsley building on the campus of Weatherford College, in the Coyote Studios, here's Brent Baker.
It's a pleasure to talk to Keith Loftis, the Grammy-nominated musician on Coyote Tales. Keith is on the phone. I believe you must be in New York City or near New York City right now. Is that right, Keith?
I am. I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Thank you for the time. We really appreciate you joining us.
Of course.
Keith Loftis, Grammy-nominated saxophonist, working musician. You've been doing this how long have you been a working musician, Keith?
I guess, let's see, from probably teenage years. You know, that's kind of when I started, kind of in high school, straight out of high school into college. Yeah. I mean, late 80s, you know.
It's really the dream of anybody. You know, I can imagine a kid pulling up to Booker T. Washington High School in Dallas, Texas, thinking, you know what, I want to do this for a living someday. How am I going to make this work? And now you look back and you've been doing it all these years. What a great accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you. And it's surely a blessing. I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day, and we were just talking about, the same thing of like how this journey has taken place. And I'm truly blessed to still be at it and, making music and teaching as well,
obviously there's a great music scene in Dallas and the Metroplex, but you are you're at the epicenter of at least jazz music in the world in the New York area, right?
Yeah, I would say that.
And so the opportunities must be great there. And, you've gotten with the Baylor Project and several Grammy Award nominations. And those guys are just phenomenal as well. How do you get hooked up with a duo like that?
Well, I mean, I'll say this. It's kind of like in anything that you do in life. It's really about relationships. So when I moved to New York back in '95 to go to the new school, Marcus Baylor was there as well. He was a freshman. He was 18 at the time, and I was like, 23 or something like that. So, we just kept in contact. We played a lot through college and afterwards, and he went on with his career with Kenny Garrett and the Yellow Jackets. And his wife, Jean, was part of a duo called Jeanne. They had a few hits back in the 90s that did really well. So I think it was around 2012 or 2013. He called me and asked me could I make this performance with him at a place called Smoke, this jazz club in Manhattan. And he said, yeah, my wife and I, we're putting together a group. It's called the Baylor Project. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. So we did the first one. I think they did one before I came on, but shortly after that, I came on board, and we had it was like every first and third Thursday up at Smoke. So, we just, they kept building, their name, and the audience, got bigger, until, promoters and, started to reach out. Long story short, yeah. So that's, they created this platform for themselves at Smoke, and which led on, to bigger things, bigger rooms, bigger concert halls and festivals and stuff like that. And here we are, 8 Grammy nominations later.
8 Grammy nominations. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And you were on all those records?
They did one during the pandemic. I think they got nominated, but I'm not sure. I'm not on that one.
But most of them.
But I'm on like at least 6.
That's
7.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. You've traveled all over the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, parts of the Middle East. Is there any, is there any particular far-flung place that you think, wow, I can't believe I played there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most of the places. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know what? We a few years ago we went to China, and that was my first time in China. That was that was interesting. And let's see another place that I was like Ukraine. We were in Ukraine maybe like 2019, 2018 for like a quick. We just flew over there to do one concert and came right back. But yeah, it's that was those are a few places. I mean, it's a few places that I still haven't been that I would love to go to, like New Zealand, Australia. Haven't been there yet.
Need to get the booking agents on that one.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
make
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
Let's go back to the beginning and went to Booker T. Washington, which is the Dallas arts magnet. I'm sure that was a great experience. So many incredible musicians and artists have come out of there. How did you get?
Yes, yeah.
How did you get hooked up with Weatherford College?
Well, let's see. I got hooked up with Weatherford through Dwayne Durrett and a lady named Marjorie Crenshaw. Miss Crenshaw was she was she was like our jazz mother on the jazz scene. I mean, she would coach us and give us tons of advice on what to do and what not to do. But yeah, it was Fred Sanders, myself, and a few others. Dwayne, they came to the school, and they mentioned that we should look at Weatherford College. I mean, because most of us were going to look at North Texas or like Berkeley or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it got close to, time to, choose a school. So they offered us a full ride. So and we knew Dwayne and the program really focused on like Basie, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and that style of music. So yeah, at that point it was like a no-brainer, no-brainer, and getting to go there with your peers, from high school. So that was awesome, leaving high school, going into college together.
Now you mentioned Frederick Sanders. Was he a student at the time?
He was where at Arts?
At Weatherford, when he came to your school.
No, we were both students there.
Oh,
we graduated from Arts.
Oh, so you came here together?
Together, yeah.
Okay.
We drove down together. We packed up his car, and we drove to Weatherford together. Yep.
Wow, what a career he's had too! Phenomenal career.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And so, what was your experience like? What are some of the memories when you were at Weatherford College?
You know what? I mean, my best memories is just having people like Dwayne and Tom Burchill there, running the big band. And, being in Weatherford, it really allowed you to kind of just really focus on school and practicing. For me, it was, it was that period of time where that's all I needed to do was, just take care of my academics and just practice. And I did a lot of practicing.
You probably didn't have a lot of distractions in the city of Weatherford at the time.
Not too many.
Right.
Not too many.
Right. Compared to Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good.
But the beautiful thing was there with your peers who were like-minded,
Yeah.
Our goals were the same, to practice and, to try to make it and just, be on the scene and, creating music.
So you leave Weatherford College, you go to the new school. Was that immediate? Right after?
No. What Fred and I did, actually, we went to Southern University right after Weatherford.
In Louisiana.
And studied in Baton Rouge. And we studied with the great clarinetist Alvin Baptiste. And we were there, I think I was there maybe a year and a half. Fred moved there, and that's where he met his wife. And Fred was there for a while, but I was there for maybe like a year and a half. Then I moved back to Dallas for, I think, a year. And then in August of 1985, that's when I moved to New York to go to the new school.
What kind of culture shock was it to move from Dallas, Texas to New York City?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. it was frightening, but exciting at the same time. Thank goodness, I had kind of family. Brad Lely, the great alto saxophonist who teaches in North Texas. He was there, and he kind of, supported me and, showed me the ropes. And that's how I met my wife, actually, because my wife and Brad are cousins. But yeah, I mean, the culture shock was huge.
Yeah.
Coming from Dallas, where just wide open spaces and a lot of space to to New York is so confined, and crowded and
just trying to figure out the transportation issues, everything. I mean, it's just a different world.
Everything. Yeah, it's a completely different world. Completely. So, that took an adjustment.
Yeah.
For me. But thank goodness, I had, the right people steering me along, my professors at the new school, people like Frank Foster, Buster Williams, Reggie Workman. But yeah,
So I'm hearing a common denominator of all these places you've been and your steps along the way, that the people that were alongside you were very, very important to you in your development and getting you to where you wanted to go.
Extremely. Like I said earlier, it was really about having great people around you, inspiring you, and kind of guiding you on your path. And I've been extremely blessed to always have people in my life that just kind of made sure that I was on the straight and narrow, the right path, and trying to do it the right way.
Talking to Keith Loftis, professional Grammy-nominated musician, live in he's in Brooklyn, New York, as we speak here on Coyote Tales, the podcast. So your music's been featured in a couple of movies. Vivica Fox
score. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was I think that one was called Three Can Play That Game. A friend of mine was writing most of the music, and they needed for, I think it was a club scene, they wanted like a Coltrane's kind of vibe in the background. So yeah, they called me to come in and write a little song for it. So yeah, so that was fun.
Also, some other independent films like the Melvin Van Peebles film Blackout.
Oh yeah, yep.
Interesting.
That was another one.
Very interesting to be a part of that. And now you've released at least one solo album. Anything else in the works, or have there been more than the one?
Well, it's been more.
Okay.
The first one, I think I released that one. That was like maybe 2000 or 2001.
Oh,
I
okay.
recorded it with a friend of mine in Singapore. I was in Singapore for 4 months, and then we recorded some music, and I brought it back and released it. Then let's see, I did one with my brother that we never did release publicly. And then let's see, there was the other one. One was called Simply Loftis. That was released in 2010, 2011. And the last one was Original State. And that was released in 2021.
I'm behind. I got to get caught up on my Keith Loftis music here. Go check it out.
You check it out. You got to get caught up.
Yeah. I assume it's out there on the streaming platforms.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Now, being a musician, it's one thing to play live and to travel, and it's another thing to record. And I know that making money in music's a lot different now with the streaming platforms. How do you manage, just trying to make a living with that too? Because it's not like it used to be, where it's really based on physical CDs and, vinyl bought.
Right.
Is that like a different world?
Yeah, it is now. It is a completely different world. And the streaming, I mean, we're all trying to figure out how to navigate through this now, because it's not like it was, where if you had a CD in Tower Records, and if you had, distribution deal where, if the CD was $20 back then, you would get I don't know what, 17, 16 bucks. I mean,
Right.
now it's really, they've cut that really down to pretty much nothing. But what we are doing now is just having, you have to do merch as well.
Right.
You have to have your T-shirts or whatever merch that you choose to have that goes along with the CD. And now LPs are really
coming back. Yeah.
Back now. They're back. So, if you can do an LP press, that helps a lot. But yeah, it's we're all trying to figure out and navigate. And most of us are educators, I teach as well. So that
helps as well. Yeah.
That helps a lot. Yeah. So, but it's a completely different world, and it's changing as we speak.
Is your teaching, is it a lot of individual teaching, or are you teaching at a music school?
Yeah. I teach at a charter school here in New York.
Okay.
It's like a band program. But yeah.
Great.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still fortunate and blessed to kind of travel quite a bit, which is, it's awesome.
How many dates on average do you think you play a year? Just ballpark it.
Sometimes 50 to 70.
Yeah.
Around there, and just, my local stuff that I do here.
That sounds,
somewhere around
that's
there.
a busy schedule. That is a busy schedule, along with the teaching and all the things you do and recording.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. The last question. I've kept you longer than I told you I would, but it's been interesting to hear.
That's okay.
So, last question, your favorite place that you have played, and it can be a place you normally play or just like one special performance, just whether the venue or the circumstances or whatever. And then,
you know what?
Go ahead.
There's a venue that I played a couple of times. I played there with Abdullah Ibrahim. It's in Switzerland. And I think I played there with Ray Charles as well. It's one of their main concert. I'm terrible with the names, and I can't remember the name of it, but I know it's in Switzerland, and it's one of those halls where you really don't need amplification.
Yeah,
it's just one of those rooms where you step on stage. You hear everything, you hear yourself, and it's just one of the most acoustically, well-built places, that I've ever played.
Well, just the fact you had me at Ray Charles when you mentioned playing with Ray Charles. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And like guys like Alvin Batiste and Nancy Wilson you've played with. I mean, just the names go on and on. Okay, what would be your dream gig?
I would say it probably playing with a string section or orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Playing ballads.
Oh.
Like a ballad. Yeah. That's kind of one of my dreams.
Like kind of standards or.
Yeah. Standards or originals, but,
okay.
but with a string, section.
Right. Well, that'd be awesome. We really had a great time in New York City when we went there on a Steinway trip with donors and met your wife and heard you reminisce with Dwayne Durrett quite a bit, and that was a blast. And then you've come to Weatherford and performed, and I hope you'll do that in the future.
Yes. That was awesome, and that was really great. Yes, I definitely will come back and do that again.
We're proud of you as Weatherford College and anybody that's met you. And rooting for continued success, and anything we can do here to help you, please let us know.
Brett, I so appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care, Brett.
Well, that's another edition of Coyote Tales. You can catch other volumes of the podcast on YouTube, Weatherford College's YouTube page, or the Coyote smartphone app. For Weatherford College and the Coyote, I'm Brent Baker.